So Title Update 1 brings in some highly anticipated new content to Monster Hunter Wilds, and some of it requires being at a certain stage in the game to access. So with less than a week until that happens, here's a complete checklist of things that you should prep so you can jump straight into the action once April 4th is here. But before we jump in, a quick word from today's sponsor. So I got a chance to see new footage of Mind's Eye. If you didn't keep up with the reveals, it's a brand new third-person action-adventure game from the former lead developer on the GTA series. Launching on June 10th, it really made some rounds during the last Sony State of Play, with its highly cinematic combat, explosive car chases, and a linear narrative. And now we've got to see more of that, new characters, and also more story context being introduced in the latest pre-order trailer. The game envisions an interesting twist on an ongoing clash between humanity, AI, the state, and big corporate sectors. While not open world according to the developers, it aims to be a binge-worthy action thriller that you want to play in. So totally check out Mind's Eye following the links down below. The pre-orders for both digital and physical copies are starting on March 28th, and if you do, you also get the bonus deluxe edition upgrade on top, which includes some extra in-game goodies, the premium pass, and also some extra in-game skins. Big thanks again to the team for the sponsorship, and now back to our video. Now, first things first, you're going to need to progress into the main story at least until you reached Suja and also Hunter rank 16, as that's when we get to unlock the new Grand Hub area after April 4th. And that's because we're gonna need to talk to Tetsuzan right here, this old and very tall NPC guy in this part, upper region of the Suja area, who will be the one providing us access to the new Grand Hub area. So this will be our new base of operations. Besides getting all the NPC shops in one spot over here, we will also get access to new features like grand meals, new arena challenge NPCs, and extra minigames among some others as well. But I recommend also progressing at least until you finish the main campaign altogether and also unlock at least Hunter rank 50. That's because this is when we get access to both Shia in high rank and also later down the line Arch-Tempered Raid out towards the end of April once its event actually begins. That's going to be the minimum requirement for both of them. Though realistically, you're going to want to probably be at least Hunter rank 100 by that point. In fact, only about 26% of the player base on Steam actually did that up until today, which is really wild if you think about it. But you'll want to do that because once you get to rank 100, you get extra unlocks at the melding pot here in Suja, including the higher grade decorations and also the specific Artian weapon part farming. Especially if you missed out on the past few weeks, the fact that the Nightflower method was fixed a while ago, and while we can still do it to some extent for some extra golden tickets, the rate of getting those is significantly slower than ever before, due to mainly the quests now having a randomized moon phase when you start them. So your best bet right now is to focus on grand hunts or great hunts, which basically both gives you a ton of XP and also gives you all of the Artian weapon parts and decorations that you need. So in this case, any non-tempered duo hunt that involves at least one apex monster, such as having at least one Archveld, can spawn with up to 20 weapon or armor decorations very easily. And similarly, great hunts with at least one tempered apex can provide an equally as high number of Artian weapon parts instead if you want to farm those specific weapons. So save them to investigations. If you spot them on any of the maps, that's going to be a good amount per hour in both XP as well as decorations or weapon parts. At number 4, if you want an even faster source of leveling, you'll be happy to know that on April 1st, Capcom is putting out a quest just for that. It's called Anguish and Atrocity, and it's basically going to be a new event quest against a Guardian de Shogama that will give us accelerated Hunter rank points from completing that. And it shouldn't take more than 3 or 4 minutes to take down a Guardian de Shogama at this stage. Totally worth it if you're trying to get some extra XP. Again, this is going to drop starting on April 1st and it will last up until the 8th, so just in time for the new title update. And on that note, there's also a big warning from Capcom to all players, because around update 1 launch time, there's going to be a maintenance window of about 5 or so hours, so pretty much between April 3rd and April 4th. However, during this time, you can still use offline play and continue playing even during that maintenance, so you're not closed off from the game. But to apply the update altogether, you will need to restart the application, download, and then apply the update to your system for the new content to be available. Now, if you want to go above and beyond and really get ready, though not necessary, you can give low-rank Shia another shot, either via an SOS flare helping out low-rank folks, or if you have a secondary playthrough, like how I do, to just give it a shot every now and then until it launches. Obviously, the high-rank Shia will be much tougher and may even have some new moves, but still the fight is very much fun and it can serve as a nice training for the real thing. So in terms of weaknesses, especially the head and wing arms, but also the forelegs are highly breakable, so try to focus on those as much as you can, plus the tail can also be severed. However, hind legs, neck and body are not, so maybe try to avoid those unless you really have to. Also, the boss is highly weak pretty much towards every single status in the game except exhaustion, so paralyze and sleep builds should continue to work very well. Be careful because it has complete immunity to some of the traps and also flash pods, so that's something that you should just avoid doing altogether. Now, in terms of the phases, in its first phase, Shia uses mostly melee attacks and occasionally follow-ups with these Guardian ground explosions, similar to all other Guardian attacks in the game. So all of these can be easily countered through via offset attacks, so if you have a weapon capable of doing that, you should burn through this phase rather quickly. Plus, it's very satisfying to do it against a boss this large. Also, you can block through most of these attacks with any weapon capable of a full block, so greatsword, lance, gun lance, probably charge blades as well, though I'm not so sure about sword and shield as I haven't played too much with that. Now, once you deal enough damage to it, it will enter its second phase, during which certain parts of its body will be fully exposed, starting with the head once you take down all of that wilk on it, which is now going to give it access to new fire attacks, including in the low rank, fire stream under its body, and also extra fireballs from afar. But in the case of the fire stream, it's easily dodgeable, you can also block through it. In this case, you can get closer to its tail since it doesn't reach there, and you can maybe focus on taking it down and severing it in the meantime. However, one very devastating attack that can pretty much one-shot you happens once it starts flying away a little bit around the midway part of the fight. It's going to charge up some of these crystals all around the map and then will use fire from its wing arms to make pretty much 95% of the whole area explode. So if you're caught in range, you're pretty much going to get carted. So in this case, you're going to want to do one of the following two things. You can either stay behind the boss, which is by far the best location. It completely avoids all the damage and gives you about 5 to 10 seconds of uninterrupted attacks against it as it's unleashing its attacks opposite of you. However, if you're not in range and don't have another option, what you can do is just outrun that attack. Since it only covers about 95% of the whole arena, what you can do is just go to the opposite end and still not get affected. So it's quite different from the Jindahad version that pretty much covers the whole area, and you can only avoid that by staying behind an ice pillar. Now, besides doing damage to all the weak points you can, what you can also do is use your environment to your advantage. You can also craft dragon pods and thunder pods with some of the stuff you can grab from the environment and damage the wilk structures around the boss to cause explosions from them and deal more damage to it that way. But you can also grab the Shia parts with your slinger, aim it at its head, and a couple of those are enough to put it on its back in a stunned phase for at least a while. Or you can just bring down some of the structures from above it to further deal damage and also stun it. If you continue this, eventually the boss will enter its third and final phase, during which its whole body underneath the wilk will be exposed, which will give Shia some extra new abilities. So besides the fire, it's also going to now get Thunder Blight. So that's going to be a debuff that's very nasty. So in this case, maybe getting some Nul berries for this fight isn't such a bad idea either. Also, be careful at any meteorites falling or any thunder strikes that may give extra fire or Thunder Blight damage against you. But following the same tactics from before, you should put the boss down in no time from this point on and just continue with the damage on weak points or environmental damage if you still have that accessible. Again, about 90% of this fight should continue to be the same in high rank as well, maybe with extra abilities, maybe the boss will be more aggressive, or maybe some of these phases will trigger a bit more often than it does in low rank. Now, besides all of this, we have some extra finishing touches over here as well. If you didn't complete all the side quests just yet, go ahead and finish anything that's left remaining. It seems that only about 28% of the folks on Steam have actually completed all of the side content. So after the main story, check your map and look for any of these yellow quest markers still remaining and any NPCs still wanting to talk to you. Most of them will get unlocked either as vendors or item retrievers. And with the new hunts, chances are that we're going to need some extra supplies of traps, food ingredients, and food buffs. So this is what I recommend getting for Title Update 1. This includes honey, parashrooms, thunderbugs, and all the catalysts or plant ingredients needed to craft stuff like the Mighty Pill, Mega Demon Drug, and the Demon Powders. These can add an easy extra 25 or so more raw attack bonus for a very nice duration and are super easy to pop right before every fight. Also, finish the 2 NPC soldier side quests over in Suja, Peaks of Accord, for the armor and the power charms. One gives you plus 12 extra armor and other plus 6 raw attack bonus, and bonuses are always very helpful. So you get the armor charm from completing the optional Secure Wounded Hollow mission that unlocks once you hit Hunter rank 16. And then a bit after this, you can get the power charm from the side mission called as Gatekeeper, which you get by talking to Rex over in the same region at Suja Peaks of Accord. And since we talked about getting better buffs, maybe it's not a bad idea to get some well done steaks ready and also grab some Eastern honey very easily from the first map. So I'm going to explain you right now how to get the well done steak. In this case, you're going to need raw meat and your grill, so go to your tent and grab as much raw meat as you can. From this point on, head over to the grill and choose the second option over here to grill your own meat. In this case, what you have to do and what worked best for me is to pay attention up until the moment your character flips the meat over and then places it again onto the grill. And here, after like a second or so, there's going to be a split second in which you're going to notice a new set of crispy textures popping off on the meat. And this is precisely the moment you want to lift it off the grill, point at which your character will enter the next animation to cut it into 5 different pieces. And in this case, if it's perfect, you should also see those shiny particle effects, as well as the achievement popping off if this is the first time you do it. But if you follow it like how I just showed you, you should always get it perfectly done no matter what. Meanwhile, you can also go for the Eastern Honey, which gives you medical meal. This one is going to increase the amount of HP you recover from healing. And you can actually get 8 Eastern Honey for every single giant Vigor Wasp. There should be about 3 or 4 of these at any given point in the first map. So in this case, to get 8 of them, what you have to do is to first consume the Vigor Wasp with either B or circle on your controller or equivalent on keyboard and mouse, and then capture that Vigor Wasp for the remaining 4. So that's going to be 8 in total. If you just go ahead and either capture it right away, or even more so if you destroy and then capture, you only get 4 instead of the 8 normal Eastern Honey you get. And on a final note, the only other thing remaining to check out is maybe go ahead and do the guild point farming method. That's also going to give you a ton of money in the process. I already covered that in a different video, so I will post it in the links down below. But basically, you can just use the fish capturing method, which is going to give you both the fish and also some of those wyvern coins that you can then funnel into other materials at some of the vendors, including, of course, some of those golden tickets, but you're going to need quite a few of them. So the full routes have already been explained in this video. Go check it out, and you should get pretty much everything you need ready for the Title Update 1. The only thing remaining is to just decide on a proper build and a proper weapon, but there are plenty of guides both on the channel and on YouTube you can go ahead and check out. This, however, has been pretty much it with the video. Thanks much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.